In today's news, Ripple and XRP's takeover is inevitable. XRP has been seeing a lot of bullish price action over the past couple of weeks, and it seems that this is in preparation for multiple catalysts that will reveal XRP's true value to be worth thousands of dollars and to make us early investors into millionaires. Now, one of these major catalysts has to do with the new monetary system that is being built with distributed ledger technology. Ripple's technology is officially replacing Swift, and everybody is talking about it now. Even mainstream media platforms like of Bloomberg here have confirmed recently that the banks are dead, and the assets that will make cash and liquidity move through the global economy, the likes of XRP for example there, will do so in the next 18 to 24 months, likely before the end of 2025. Take a listen.
This liquidity just isn't simply in dollars, although that could be a concern. But the liquidity transaction mechanisms, what's going to make cash and liquidity move through the global economy, is a factor which will ultimately play into how markets behave over the next 18 to 24 months.
This is huge news. He is saying the quiet parts out loud for all of you to hear. XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC, Quant, you name it. The real world utility tokens, the ones that are creating this internet of value, will see drastic price increases in the next 2 years. And we will see the collapse of the old monetary system. Systems like Swift will become obsolete and will be replaced. And Ripple and XRP are the current leaders amongst these assets to replace Swift. This post from Smoke here, a book called The Future of Insurance, clearly states, consider R3 and Ripple, two examples of developing world disruption impacting developed world business. In both cases, these companies are using blockchain to replace the Swift network, the standard protocol overseeing international banking transactions. Now, there's a very obvious reason why I highlight this post, as I'm sure you're already fully aware. A few days ago, the Swift website, and more importantly, the Swift system, was temporarily down, which is very concerning. This application is temporarily unavailable. The application you're trying to access is temporarily offline for maintenance reasons. Please try again later. This has already been resolved, thankfully, but regardless of that fact, this is a major issue, an issue that blockchain can and will solve, an issue that Ripple and XRP can and will and has solved. And before the Swift system went down, Chaps already experienced issues. So one after another, they are showing you the problems that can occur with these systems and preparing a solution, which is XRP. Now, there are claims being made that it was a simple glitch and not a cyber attack. But regardless, if this was to become a common reoccurrence, it would send the whole financial system and the world for that matter into pandemonium. So this is not an issue that can be overlooked. But just consider this, because it's very possible that this was not a system glitch, as they stated, but actually it was a test before the real shutdown happened. Because this is how they would go about the Great Reset: completely shut down all the systems, cause pandemonium, and then offer a solution, being blockchain, being Ripple and XRP. And the banks, they know about this, and likely they are also in on this whole fiasco, if you will, as well. As we can see here, MasterCard CEO Michael Maybach stated back in 2022 that Swift may not exist in 5 years. So by 2027, therefore, Swift will be completely cannibalized. And considering that MasterCard is in close partnership with Ripple, I'm sure they know that Ripple will be the ones to replace Swift, which will cause XRP's use cases and therefore price to explode, go much higher. I mean, Ripple have advertised themselves that Swift isn't fast enough and that Ripple is a solution. And in that regard, we have a massive compilation put together here courtesy of XRP Drops. Go give him a follow on X, on Twitter. He showcases time and time again proof that Swift can't compete with Ripple. Ripple have the banks, the partnerships, they have the technology, and this video is confirmation that Swift's grave has already been dug. Once Ripple takes its rightful place, XRP will soar to the moon. Pay very close attention.
Is there a current agreement or partnership in the works between your companies?
No. Not that I know.
Not that I know of. Thank you.
Instead of
SWIFT, which is just a messaging system, and then the banks have to somehow pre-fund in Nostra accounts. You could use blockchain, but the current thinking is you need a bridge currency in between, and that bridge could be a stable value that's backed by the US dollar or the euro. It could be a currency even like Ripple has an alternative. It's
as well. But we may also see Ripple XRP moving across the SWIFT network as a currency when we're perhaps using something like FX.
A number of different people we've hired over a period of time. One of the former board members of SWIFT, a gentleman, Marcus Treacher, joined our team to run all of customer success. And, this was, a former board member from SWIFT coming over and saying, hey, we don't think SWIFT's going to be necessarily a solution to really unlocking this Internet of Value. These are, marks along the journey.
He described GPI as a horse and buggy, and Ripple is an automobile. I think he wanted to say race car, but he said automobile.
I heard of Ripple at the time, and they said SWIFT is going to be put out of business by Ripple, and I thought that's quite handy. I'll phone up SWIFT and see what they think. That'll make a good story for the paper. And SWIFT said, actually, we're taking this really seriously. We think it could affect us in lots of ways.
Now, SWIFT is kind of a competitor. So to some degree, really boil it down, Ripple's competing with the liquidity of Citi and the messaging of SWIFT, but in one, because we're both messaging and liquidity. And at the end of the day,
SWIFT is basically almost like a money neutral thing. It's not like we wanted to take over this lucrative business. We just needed things to work better in order for us to like get people to use a cryptocurrency for payment.
We've made it public that our patent for an idea that uses blockchain and tokens to send and receive very rich payment information around the world has the ability to connect both old and new payment networks around the world. So for the transmission of payment messages, we could be connecting members of the SWIFT network with members of the Ripple network. And I think
executing on a day-by-day basis is in fact taking over SWIFT in that we've now signed up, well over 100 banks. Some of the largest SWIFT-enabled banks in the world are now using Ripple's technology. Just last week, we saw a remittance company who's using Ripple's technology. They reduced the price per transaction to their consumers from $20 per transaction to $2 per transaction, and they saw an 800% increase in usage overnight. That's the type of dynamic that SWIFT isn't able to support that we're able to address right now.
Batch processing. And I know SWIFT is trying to work to connect these real-time rails using SWIFT Instant. But I will say in the time that I have left that a major competitor to SWIFT is Ripple. Ripple's using RippleNet. It's using distributed ledger technology to solve correspondent banking challenges. And, their technology offers bidirectional messaging in the payment system and actually it can answer questions about the legitimacy of funds and the correctness of any information. So, the banks that participate in RippleNet are able to exchange bilateral payment instructions in real time and enter payments into local real-time rails, leveraging bilateral arrangements. So I'm seeing that there's different, competing schemes, right? It just illustrates how DLT is changing the payments landscape, which may obviate the need for SWIFT's instant transaction management capabilities.
Yeah, maybe to that, a big part of the value proposition of Ripple, I think, is the cryptocurrency, the XRP. I think that's another one worthy of debate. There we do find that the banks are also, at least when they talk to us, they may tell you different things, they are hesitant to convert things into a currency, a cryptocurrency right now, because of the volatility in the currencies, because of the fact that you don't have the deep liquidity that you have in, for example, the dollar as a clearing unit at the end of the day.
I hear people talk about volatility, and I feel like they're propagating misinformation. The volatility risk of fiat, volatility is just a mathematical calculation of time times volatility. If you hold fiat for, let's say, an average SWIFT transaction today is in the order of magnitude 2 days, that's about 180,000 seconds. An XRP transaction is 3 seconds. So if you take a low volatile asset times a long duration, fiat, or a high volatility asset versus a very, very short amount of time, it turns out mathematically there's less volatility risk in an XRP transaction than there is in a fiat transaction. The difference is you have market makers. When you do a SWIFT transaction, there's banks saying, there's a market maker saying, I'll lock in that rate. I'll take the volatility risk for the next 2 or 3 days. With XRP, you don't have to do that because it settles so quickly.
This is absolutely massive news and further reinstates my belief of XRP and Ripple's inevitable takeover to cannibalize Swift. See, now I'm under the impression of, well though, this is all pre-planned. This was all pre-planned. Swift experiencing these issues in a timely fashion just as XRP is about to win their lawsuit, just as Wall Street is getting involved into crypto, and just as the BRICS officially confirmed their acceleration or de-dollarization to detach from the SWIFT system, to remove the SWIFT system due to the Project Enbridge by the BIS. And remember that Ripple joined the BIS Cross-Border Payments Interoperability and Extension Task Force, and this Enbridge ledger is an EVM-compatible solution. Convenient, don't you think? I think it's more just a coincidence. This dynamic shift is happening faster than you could possibly comprehend right now, and I believe the BRICS will help XRP's takeover. They're helping to accelerate the Swift's demise, and Ripple will take its place. XRP is going to explode so much higher than from its 61 cents region right now, in my opinion, to be worth thousands of dollars, but of course this is not financial advice. But I believe XRP will make millionaires, so buckle up, do your own research, and don't look short term, think long term, and I'll see you in the next one.